I am Jim Collison, and this is the Wellbeing at Work with CliftonStrengths podcast recorded on December 2nd, 2021. In this CliftonStrengths podcast, we'll look at the Strengths, Insight, and Action Planning items from Appendix 1 and 2 in the Gallup book, Wellbeing at Work, one theme at a time, and today's theme is Arranger. If you're listening live, love to have you join us in our chat room on our live page or just a link right above me. Or if you have questions after the fact, any questions, you can send us an email, coaching@gallup.com. Dr. Jacqueline Robinson is our host today. She works as a Gallup Learning and Development Consultant, which sounds super important, and was the primary, this is even more important, and is the primary contributor in Appendix 1 in the Wellbeing at Work book. And Jacqueline, it's always great to have you. Welcome back.
Thank you, sir.
Let's start with Arranger today. Why don't we dive in with a definition?
We think of arrangers as being both organized and flexible. These are the folks that can determine how all the resources and pieces can be arranged for maximum productivity.
It's my number one, so I'll probably chime in a little more.
Love that. Yes,
on
please.
This one. But let's talk. How does it relate to you, and how does that relate to others?
If we think about how it relates to you, arrangers are great at just determining how to plan out and coordinate the responsibilities that they have for the day, primarily in a way that's both efficient and productive. So really good at multitasking and thinking about how all the pieces connect together. So when it comes to other people, arrangers have this talent for resourcing people to, positions and responsibilities where they're best suited to succeed. And then I think this maximizes the team and the workload because when it comes to the workplace, or even if they're, a sports coach for their child's team, they just know how everyone works most efficiently. It's almost, I always think about it as matching talent to task. And they're really adept at being able to do that.
Yeah, and I think
beyond just resources.
Sorry, I think there's two components to it. There's a people and a process in this, right? And one being able, and they aren't necessarily the same. One being able to organize work or maximize. Now, I have maximizer also that kind of taints Arranger for me a little bit, but working with people or working with processes. So just I think and most of our themes have some of that divide, that division as well, but a great opportunity to do that. When we think about this theme from a well-being standpoint, we think about it thriving versus struggling. Talk a little bit about that.
Thriving, they're operating a lot like a conductor. So they're coordinating people and or places, including themselves, in a way that's efficient and productive. Alternatively, though, if we think about struggling, there can be too many people, is what I think about. Too many things or too many people to adjust, and it feels like this flurry of activity, as opposed to even controlled chaos when you have a lot going on and you're figuring out ways to manage it. So that can create confusion and burnout for that person or the people that are around them. What else would you maybe add to that, Jim, since it's number one for you?
Yeah, we've spent a lot of time talking about burnout and this idea of having, for Arranger, having a lot of things on your plate that you don't have a lot of control over. Or you have unrealistic expectations for, right? Now that's common among all, regardless of your top 5. That's a common problem when we think about well-being and burnout. But I think that's an area for Arranger, those with high Arranger, to really look out for, just to kind of make sure, how much control do I have over this? And if you don't, what are my expectations then about the results and getting that done? We have some best practices kind of in the book as we think about that theme tied to one of the elements, one of our 5 well-being elements. Can you give us an example of one of those?
Yes. So we're on the topic of career. So let's look a little bit at career. And this person thrives when there's a lot of moving pieces that need to fit together. So they might appreciate being in charge of hard and complex assignments. If we think about that stretch assignment for them, something that's hard or difficult or allows them to just kind of get in and manage a lot of different moving parts, is likely going to thrill them.
We have 4 additional elements in there for each of these themes in the Wellbeing at Work book. And so a great opportunity with those that you coach to work through each one of those, to have some conversations. Lots of great questions can come up from that as well. So really important, my favorite section is how can we use this? So this theme of Arranger, how can we use it to support others?
I think about, if you're if you're a manager leading a team,
Mhm.
thinking about the resources. What are the resources I have? Who are the people I have? And engaging with team members on what it is they do well to make sure that it aligns with the responsibilities that you're providing them with. You might see some of that talent in them because you've seen how efficient they are at specific tasks. But I think also just asking them, is this something that brings you joy and energy, is going to be helpful just to make sure that it's in alignment. And then finding ways to link them to more of those opportunities. If I think about it from this arranger being on a team, then they could be a really good team lead. Just help people divvy out the resources. This is what I think we should get done and when. We think about them as being able to have this juggling act. They've got all the balls in the air. They can see all the priorities for all of those. So they might naturally be just this team lead that helps the team stay efficient with the workload they have. From an individual perspective, you know, arrangers love a dynamic work environment. And so I think it's considering, well, you brought up a great point earlier, Jim, and we can pull that right back in. If there's a lot on your plate, what do you have control over? Um, Thinking about if you don't have control over some things, maybe that's a good time to talk to the manager to see how you can create a little bit more, I don't know, productivity and efficiency.
Yeah.
Because without that efficiency piece, it could just be nails on a chalkboard to an arranger. And
Mhm.
we're talking well-being here. So that might burn you out. That might frustrate you. And then maybe just even checking that gut feeling you have. Where do I feel a lot of energy and excitement and enthusiasm throughout the day? Where it's that dynamic work environment and I'm just thriving and I can't wait to get back to it. We've been talking so much about your personal projects, Jim, and you just hear the energy come out because it's, yeah, I get to do this and this and this. And so where are you getting that energy and how can you create more of that for yourself throughout the day, whether it's at work or at home?
Yeah, and these have been kind of individual for me. These projects have been individually based. They're just
Mhm.
me. I don't have anyone else involved, but it's been good end of the year. The weather's been great, so it's been good to get outside. But it really it gives me the opportunity to recharge, to get out there, do something different, build some things, think through some problems that need to be solved. We have a I often get asked, where's your restorative? Because the arranger kind of mimics that in solving the problems. Restorative actually likes to fix them. I don't always want to get all the way there or have the patience to follow all the way through with it. When though that can't that theme, that talent, and I think from a coaching standpoint, great opportunity to use this to help arrangers use this and give it to a team. So how can in a team setting when I'm a contributor to a team, how can I lend that to others? It isn't,
Mhm.
it's one of those, how can I help others get those things going, or how can I help others with multiple processes happening all at the same time? I think early on Called to Coach, it worked in a way when it was chaos, and it was like the
Mhm.
technology wasn't very good. It's so easy now that I'm starting to add some other complications. We'll maybe talk about that in the mid show, but it created a space where I could then provide that for a team, and others
Mhm.
knew Jim had it, right? And so I think it creates some stability from that standpoint. So I love
For sure.
thinking that through again, coach, is a framework that you can use right out of the book. Managing, how do you see this managing or leading a team? If you're on the team and as an individual, I think is a great framework to walk through. So, Jacqueline,
Mhm.
with a ranger, anything else that you wanna add to that before we kind of wrap this up?
Yeah, I'd say if you're thinking about how can I continue to, work through my well-being for self, one thing that you could even think about if you're managing a team or even managing your family, how can I better position individuals to use their strengths every day? If you're, connecting with your team members, of all the things that they do well in their job, which ones do they do the best? And again, looking for ways to align them to those tasks. And then last, if we think about taking action and then just moving forward, and we want to use this now, scheduling time for team events or, social activities, whether it's remote or on site, people are looking for that.
Mhm.
They're still feeling a little bit of this, social isolation. They're looking for that sense of camaraderie. And I think that's something arrangers do really well is looking for ways to kind of bring people together, if that's the people piece that you have, because we talked about this earlier, arrangers, there's a people side, there's a processes side, and some feel like they have both. But whenever you're able to maybe manage this dynamic environment and bring people together, might feel quite thrilling.
Yeah. From a take action standpoint, lately, with Arranger One and Woo and Relator also in the top 10, I shifted from getting groups together to getting individuals together, one-on-one conversations. So lots of activity around, hey, can I just call you? Hey, can I just spend some time with you? Hey, can we just jump on a call? High activity, lots of those calls going on, right? Just
Yeah.
a different focus. Instead of it being a group of people all in person doing things together for an event, it became a group of individuals doing things for kind of for a purpose, or whatever those individuals needed, and it gave me a great opportunity to take action in that way. Jacqueline, anything else?
I love, well, even just hearing you talk about the people piece, I hear the processes piece.
Right.
It sounds like, which is great because it's, oh, do you just have time? And arrangers, you might have 5 minutes, and that's time to be very efficient and productive. And
Yeah.
oh, I can squeeze in a call before I have my next meeting that pops up on my calendar.
Yeah, and
So
it's kind of
love
exciting
it.
when it does happen. Like for some people, those more tasks getting added kind of is like, oh, and for, I think sometimes the value in this arranger is it's like, oh,
Yeah.
hey, this is going to be great. I mean, I think sometimes the best day is a busy day. You
Hmm.
look at your calendar. I get excited when the calendar is full, and,
Yeah.
and, and you're kind of like, so, well, super great. Well, Jacqueline, another great session again from our book, Wellbeing at Work. Lots of resources available for you there. And we want to remind you to take advantage of all the resources we have available on Gallup Access. So head out to gallup.com/CliftonStrengths, log in there, and lots of resources available for you for coaching, master coaching. Or if you want to become a Gallup certified strengths coach, you can send us an email, coaching@gallup.com. Stay up to date with all the webcasts. I mentioned this earlier, gallup.eventbrite.com, and you can find us on any social platform just by searching Clifton Strengths. We'd love to have you engage with us there. If you're listening to this as a podcast or on YouTube, you can subscribe and never miss an episode. So we'd love to have you get that done. Thanks for listening. If you found it useful, we'd ask that you'd share it. We'll see you on the next one. And with that, we'll say goodbye, everybody.